Hey everybody, Matt from Eastwood. We're here in the Eastwood garage doing another live tech session for you guys. And if you guys haven't watched one of these before, I want you guys to log on to the chat and join us. We have Scott as always over here.
Yep, so I'm on Facebook and I'm on YouTube, so if you guys have any questions, make sure you ask us here. I can either answer them right there in the box, or if it's something really good, I can also get it over to Matt, and we can answer it live for you here. So we're talking about X-Mat here today?
Yeah, so today we're going to go over sound deadening. It's a good, at least here in our part of the world, it's getting really hot. So if you have a car that you just finished up in the spring and you're putting it on the road, you're going to really notice all the heat coming from the vehicle, and this might be timely for some of you guys and gals. So this is our X-Mat line. It is both most of the products are both a sound deadener as well as a heat barrier. So this is going to not only drop the temperature inside the cabin of your vehicle, but it's also going to drop the sound that you hear. So if you have a loud exhaust or if you have a car that's a little rattly, you can put some of these things in and it'll definitely help. So I'm going to quickly go over some of them, but we're really going to focus on our most popular one that is definitely our customer favorite. This is our low profile heat and sound barrier. This product has a silver metal lining here on the outside, a foil lining, and it also has a butyl rubber compound that's on the back side here, and it's also sticky so that you can put this and it will adhere inside your vehicle. So this can be used, it's only one, this particular stuff, I think one of the reasons it's really popular, it's kind of the middle of the road, but it's also basically our thinnest, so it's only a 1/16 of an inch thick. So if you're putting this underneath on your floorboards where you're going to be putting carpet over top of and you don't want to have a real thick buildup for the carpet, this is really great for that because it contours nicely. You can use one of our little rollers to actually roll it and put it on and get everything nice and smooth up over the tunnel and anywhere like that. So this drops up to about 30 degrees. You're going to see a 30-degree drop we've seen when using this. And it's about 19 decibels you'll see as a drop if you're doing this inside the vehicle. Now this may vary depending on some factors on where you're putting it exactly, but that's a pretty big drop if you're inside a vehicle. To drop something 30 degrees is going to be very, very noticeable. So this is our most popular one. Like I said, this is the low profile heat and sound barrier. And like I said, it's made up just mainly of the foil and the butyl rubber compound on the inside. And what I'm going to do is show you guys, before I go in and show some of the other ones, we got a little sound test to show you guys the difference. We just have two pieces of sheet metal here. This one here, I'll flip it around. So you can see this one's just uncoated, it's just 20 gauge sheet metal. And this one here, we just have it on a wire so they kind of bounce around a little bit. But this one here is coated just with one layer of the low profile that I was just showing you guys on here. And I'm going to hit it just with a plastic mallet so you guys can hear. Now we have it tied up here so that it can vibrate freely. If you hold on to the piece or if it's attached, it may not vibrate as much. So I'm going to hit this one pretty good. So you can hear it's got a pretty loud ring to it. Now we'll do this one here. Let's let it spin like so. Now it doesn't want to sit. How about we do it this way? And it doesn't really matter. We can hit it either side. So I'll hit it again so you guys can hear. So you can hear there's no ring. We're not getting that ring that you would hear. So what that equates to when you're actually doing work on your vehicle, or I'm sorry, when you're driving the vehicle, that's going to be the vibrations that you hear, the rattles, the squeaks, and just any kind of exhaust that's going to resonate inside. It's going to be that same effect. So this is going to kind of deaden it, make it the sound levels much easier to handle. But it's pretty incredible the drop that you get with this one, which is kind of our middle of the road sound deadener. Any questions before I go into the next? Just talk about the other.
Sure. One that I don't know if we covered or not yet, I've been typing away, would be, are these going to be adhesive back, all of them?
Yes, so that's a good question. So all of our sound deadening products do have an adhesive backing to them. Even our Quilted here, which we'll go over in a little bit, this even has a little bit of the butyl on the back side, so it has that rubber compound built into the back side. So that's going to give you a little bit of that sound deadening as well as the heat protection on that. So yes, they do all have that. That's a good a good point to cover. The one thing I forgot to mention, since this is our most popular version, we do have this available in 2 different sizes. So we have a small job kit that gives you a offering of 12 by 12 sheets in a small little box. And then we also have this guy here, which is our, here, I'll get this so you can see the difference in the size here. So it's 18 by 31 versus 12 by 12. So big difference here. The larger kit, obviously, if you're doing the floors of your car, you're doing a whole entire vehicle, I would go with this kit because it has the larger sheets. So you can lay this down, one sheet, boom, right in a floorboard, trim around the edges, and you're good to go. And then you can use the small kit to just kind of fill in areas where you may not want to cut into a full sheet. Kick panels, things like that, you can use these, and it works really well. But that's one thing we offered. You guys were asking for smaller kits. We have that available now. So over here, we have our under hood or roof lining, sound deadening, and heat protection. So the difference with this one that you may notice, it's obviously thicker on this, but also has kind of like a waffle pattern on this. This one we're seeing over 100-degree drop in temperature on panels that we've put this on. So when we put this under the hood, or if we put this in the roof of a car, that's the kind of drop that we're seeing on that panel because of the design of this, because of the waffle pattern, having the foil on it, and also having the thicker foam membrane inside of there really makes it nice. So this one's good for, we get the question a lot with the other products over the years. So we came out with this under hood, or you can use overhead. Now you can use this in any area, but those are the 2 spots that we most commonly see doing this, where you can put that underneath of there. So if you're doing any kind of work like that, this comes in a full roll, like so. And the reason we did that instead of the sheets was so that you can actually fit that up in there and trim it to fit, because you may have a large hood, or the roof of your car may be pretty large, so we don't want to limit you in having to do a bunch of different sheets. So we have this big piece here that you can unroll, trim it to size, and you're not going to have to use a bunch of different pieces to put it together to use under the hood or in the roof. So that's that one. Now over here we have our Quilted. This is for you guys that are into restoration. You want something that looks kind of OE. The next 2 products actually are pretty good for that. This is the Quilted design. So this has a quilted fabric type material. I'll try to turn it so you guys can see. So it's still got the Butyl in there, the rubber compound that's sticky, and it has the foam quilted, the fabric quilted sound deadening. Where this is good is if you guys are doing this like in a trunk panel of a car, it goes in between the taillights, in a kick panel or something, or in behind a door card. This replicates, some cars came with a similar type of sound deadening in the car, and this looks really nice. So when you fit this in there, if you do it right, this kind of looks factory, and I think it looks really good when you use it in certain particular areas. So you can get a kit of this, put it in a couple little spots where you might see it, and it works out really well. The next one we have here, this is our low profile, what we call our low profile dense, and this is probably my favorite because you get this sound deadening that you're looking for. But big thing you'll notice is the color. If you're doing a vehicle where you may see some of the sound deadening and you don't want to have a shiny silver sound deadening showing from underneath, this one is a good one as well. So it still has the Butyl on the back side with the stickiness, so you can adhere it pretty much anywhere. But it has this nice dense foam that's built into it that helps with the sound as well. So, and the heat barrier. So this one's a nice one as well. This is probably my favorite that I would do in a vehicle, especially because if you're going to be seeing any type of this isn't going to stick out as much when you look inside the interior of a car if you have an area where you can't cover fully with carpet. Now the next one is if you're really trying to keep your vehicle quiet and also keep it cool. This is our high profile. So this guy here, now you do give up some thickness on this. This is about 3/8 of an inch thick, but we've seen this drop up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. That's an insane drop in temperature. And the sound drop is around 17 decibels, which is pretty good as well. Now you are giving up a little bit of space, so depending on the type of vehicle that you're doing, putting this underneath of a carpet may not be the best thing. But if you have areas where, say, your mufflers or exhaust comes out under the trunk of the car and it's just a big open sheet metal area, this is great for that. Putting in an area where you know there's going to be a lot of sound, the exhaust is going to resonate underneath of the car, and it's going to be a bit noisy and kind of drone. You put this in here, you're going to see a big drop in the sound, but also it's going to be a big drop in the heat as well. So you can use this in the firewall. If you put this up against the firewall, you obviously don't have to worry about your carpet as much. You can hide it up underneath the dash on the firewall, and you're going to really notice a difference in the drop in the temperature when you're driving a vehicle during the summer. You won't feel that heat coming through the firewall from your exhaust or just the engine in general. So this is really nice. So you kind of need a combination of all of these to get the job done and really get your car as quiet and as cool as possible. But like I said, my favorites for sure would definitely be the low density, or I'm sorry, the high density, low profile, our kind of middle ground, heat and sound, low profile. This is great for the floors. And then, like I said, you can go with either the real thick, high profile, or you can go with the one for the under the hood or in the roof or of your car if you really want to drop some temperatures in particular areas. Those are really great. Any other questions we got on this?
We're good right now. The only thing to consider is also throwing the X-Mat under the hood saves your paint from all the heat come up underneath of it, so it doesn't fade as quickly. And also, when under the headliner, we do only recommend using the underhood under headliner version, none of the other ones, it's a very, very lightweight, stops a lot of heat. You're not hanging weight upside down. So, that's the one we do recommend up there. All the rest will be for vertical panels, underneath your seats, stuff like that. Behind your dash.
That's a good point to make. When you can look in this one, it has the lightweight foam that's inside of it. So that's kind of where we're still getting good heat and sound resistance on this, but it's saving the weight of it, where the butyl is quite heavy, so when you have a thick compound of that in there, it's going to really add some weight to it. So that's a good tip. Scott's always getting these questions. We got people calling every day probably with different things that they're trying to do, especially this time of year. You got to be on your toes. So that's our offering here. Now we do have a couple cool shots. I want to show you guys of us installing it. So we have some shots installing the X-Mat in a customer, Brooke, who has a really nice Chevy station wagon here, Impala station wagon, that he put this all on the inside. And he used mostly the low profile heat and sound deadening there. And it's really great. You can see lining the whole inside of the car. And then he finished that off with a carpet kit, so you can't see any of that. But that was a good example. That vehicle with the exhaust system underneath, and because it's so big inside of there, it just kind of almost turned like an amphitheater when he was driving that thing because of how much it resonated inside. So you drop that in, much better. Now we also did another one where we have Ryan that works here. He did the inside of his truck, and he kind of used different combinations where there he's using the high profile. Then he's using our low profile there on the floors and kind of mixing and matching there around the tunnel. And then he's using the low profile, high density for inside a door card, and you can cut it out to fit so you can still fit his speakers. And it came out really, really nice, as you guys can see. So those are a couple of the uses that you guys can see where we've done videos. If you want to check out those in further detail, you can check it out on YouTube. We do have some videos of installing some of those products, where a longer length video that we did on those, and you guys can see those there to really get an idea of the difference in the heat and temperature. And the last thing that I want to show you guys is we kind of did a torture testing like we like to do with a lot of our products. So we did a heat test with putting some ice cubes and a torch. So obviously on the right you can see the panel that has the X-Mat attached. You can see how quick the ice starts to melt on the left side there. Instantly, the cubes are just melting down and going away. While the right side's not really doing anything. You're not seeing a puddle forming underneath. And that's how big of a difference that it makes with resisting that heat. Now, that's obviously an extreme situation where we're taking a torch and putting it right to the metal. But you can see it. I mean, we're basically boiling the water at that point. On the left side with no coating, and on the right side there, we basically had the cubes were still intact and we're still doing a great job. So that shows you just how much of a difference it can make by just putting this stuff in. So even if you just at the minimum are putting in the areas that you can feel a lot of heat coming off of, like your firewall under the dash, you're going to notice a big difference. So if you're on a budget, definitely buy one of the, the low profile. You can start off with that and just do some key areas like your floor pans and in your car. And then as you find some areas where you're finding more heat or more sound coming in, you can kind of work with some of these other products if you need to. But the best time to do it is right when you finish a project before you put in your carpet. Grab a couple of these different ones, do the whole vehicle, put the carpet, door panels, everything in, and you'll be happy right from the get-go. Any other questions we have? That's basically all I got today.
Sure. One more good one that we didn't cover. Actually, I think it was Robert asked, what's the best way to prep the area for putting this stuff on? So we always recommend using a good wax and grease remover. We have our pre-painting prep. Just thoroughly clean the area you're going to apply it. That way there's no grease or anything like that. Even your fingerprints can affect how it's going to adhere. So you have a nice clean surface, be able to roll it on. That way you have it on there for years to come.
Yeah, that's key. And one thing I've seen with some guys is when I've seen some of these installed and guys having problems is some of the cars that you're messing with, if you're not doing a full-out restoration, you may have old sound deadening that's dried and it's kind of cracking and flaking underneath of the carpet. Make sure you're removing that because just like your paint, your sound deadening is only going to adhere as good as what's underneath of it. So if you have old sound deadening that's put into the vehicle from the factory and it's cracking and breaking away or falling off, you need to take all that off or this is going to come off right with it because that's what it's adhered to. So just take those extra few minutes and you'll get a good adhesion and the thing will last the life of the car. So that's it for questions. Good. Cool. So that's all we got today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want to learn any more about the XMAT product, we do have links in the comments here that you can view it. If you're coming into us late, we do put these recorded versions. You can watch it on our Facebook page, and you can also watch it on YouTube as well. And drop us a comment if you have any ideas for future broadcasts, and we will do our best to do those. So tomorrow we have another one going at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so make sure you join us then on Facebook, YouTube, or Eastwood.com. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you later.